Happy New Year 2023. I wish you a wonderful and blessed New Year. And I pulled some cards for the New Year, and it is quite interesting because the cards that I've pulled are Inanna, Greed, Litha, Saturn, the Underworld, Roots, Future and Yule. So the cards also speak about that this year is a seed for the new. It is a transition still, but it is also a seed for the new. I mean, Pluto is going into Aquarius this year in spring, so it is about the next step into a new era, into the Aquarius age. And I mean, of course, Pluto will also show the dark side of Aquarius, so it will also show where we are maybe too technical, where the shadows are of the digital revolution. There will be a lot of revolution during this time because the old structures are still dying and there is still a lot of change going on. And that is why I feel roots is so important. It is important, where are we rooted in? What are our true values? What is really important for us? What are the little things that mean in the end so much? What are the little things that we are grateful for, that give us strength? I mean, sometimes being grateful is just a word, but it is so much more. Being grateful is actually empowerment and is actually seeing how beautiful your life is and connect to life. Being grateful is a way to stay connected, and this is the most important. To create a new future is being connected. And the cards also say this being connected is also about being connected to your own roots. Where are you rooted in? And Sedna, also being connected to your shadow, where your pain is, where do you feel hurt, and also stay connected to what is the wound. Not only what you think is the light that you can present to the world, but maybe that your light is also in your shadow, in what you are maybe even ashamed of. And I found it interesting that I asked for guidance and that the cards that showed up are Ereshkigal, Sorrow and Retrogrades. So it is about a communication of our shadow. It is about being truthful with our shadow. It is about the conscious mourning of things that will never be or weren't supposed to be, or things that we are ashamed of, or things where we feel we failed, to give a space of confession in ourselves and to say this is a possibility to actually be more future orientated. If I'm not honest with myself, if I'm denying my shadow, then in the end I will be controlled by my shadow. So it is about respecting all aspects of life. I mean, Inanna is about the truth that embraces all the parts in us and that is able to embrace all the parts. And Inanna is the sister of Ereshkigal. Ereshkigal is the goddess of the underworld, and Inanna is still a queen even though she is without her insignia when she is with her sister, even though she has to mourn with her sister about everything that went wrong with her. You know, it is about the sovereign that doesn't need this social proof all the time, to say goodbye to this constant approval of the outside and more stepping into the inner sanctuary if we want to survive as humanity. So this year is a year where the seed is put into the soil as humanity and in our personal lives. What kind of future do we want to have? It is a turning point as humanity. It is a turning point for many of us in our private life, and it is a turning point in our consciousness, and it is also a turning point in humanity, how we deal with the huge climate theme, how we connect to the earth, how we deal with our woundedness. Do we continue to deal with our woundedness, with getting more and abusing others and using this earth, or do we find another way? Do we find this, as I said, this space of confession where we allow ourselves to be wounded, and through this allowance, healing sorrow, healing in expressing our pain, in owning our pain, and empowerment through owning our powerlessness. And I mean, greed will always be in us, but the question is, how do we interact with greed? Do we have a conscious connection to our greed, or are we just driven by it? And I feel like this year will be a time of decision. It will be a time, how as a society will we deal with that? There is a paradigm shift needed, and this year is a time where we are asked to do this paradigm shift. And in the astrology, March will be a very important point because Saturn will go into Pisces Pisces and Pluto will go into Aquarius for the first time. It will retrograde into Capricorn, but it is the first time that Pluto will go into Aquarius. So I feel like this end of winter and beginning of spring this year is a turning point for humanity and also in our personal lives. It is a shift. It is a point where the energies are beginning, something new is born. This spring will bring a new seed. Jupiter will also go into Taurus this May, and in July the North Node will go into Aries. The direction will go into, but what do I want? So the question will be, will you be guided by your greed? This can be Aries, anger, greed. This is what I want. This is what I need. Or is it, I want Eula, I want something new. I want a new future, and we need visions and we need concrete steps to create this vision. What do we want? What is our decision? Where, Aries, is our will? What is it that we really want as humanity and in our personal lives? We have to decide what nourishes what we want. Where do we feel nourished? Where our will is rooted in, that is the question. Where is our will rooted in? That will be the huge question in our personal lives and also as humanity. And Mercury will be retrograde during January now, and in May, and also in August, September. So it is in the earth signs, and this is often about finances and about the market. So I feel it will still be a time where it is a time of transition and not so easy for the whole world in the way we trade goods. I mean, Mercury is still retrograde, and Mercury is together with Venus and Pluto. So again, it is about owning your shadow. It is about reflecting your shadow. It is about some form of find a space, find a place, find a ritual, find a way to make confession, whether it is with others or whether it is with yourself. This year, we only can go on if we are, as Spirit says, with Ereshkigal, with sorrow and with Retrograde, when we are able to give our mourning, our sadness a room. I mean, the sun is squaring Ceres and is squaring Chiron. This year we will be confronted with our woundedness. We will be confronted with losses. The square from Ceres in Libra to the sun in Capricorn and also to Chiron in Aries. So it is about what structures in our society are also dying, what structures of behaving, and what will be the new ones. The question is, will we decide that out of our woundedness, or do we find a way to express our woundedness, and out of this liberation finding a new way into the future, not of denying our shadow and not sugarcoating our shadow, lying about our shadow, but finding healing in truth, healing in owning our woundedness, and healing in owning the losses that we carry, the losses that we carry through many lifetimes, the losses that we carry as societies, the losses that we also carry through the changes that are about to happen. That some things, like for example when the Queen died, certain ways of tradition might change forever. There is a place in us where we need to mourn, where we need to express our sadness about that, and the way it confronts us with our own powerlessness. And in expressing our own powerlessness, we will be most powerful. Not in, and this is the Sun in a quincunx to Achille and Mars in Gemini, not in pretending that we are invincible. I mean, the quincunx is a difficult theme because quincunxes are often where you have to make effort to see it. So we sometimes are not truthful with our own aggression, with our own agenda, with our own need to express that we are independent, that we are invincible with asteroid Achille, and to say maybe it is more powerful to be courageous enough to be powerless and to say this is where I feel wounded, this is where I feel hurt, this is where I feel helpless. And as Rumi said, where our wounds are, there is a point where the light can come in. So maybe in our so-called sovereignty, where we present to the world, oh, this is how beautiful I live, this is the clothes I have, this is the places where I travel, this kind of presenting my life, that this is maybe more powerless than owning our shadow, and out of this owning our shadow, inviting the light for ourselves and for others. So I wish you that this year will will bring a lot of new seeds that will push you into the future and push you into a future where you own your shadow, and through owning your shadow, like Inanna, like the goddess Inanna, you will come into your true sovereignty in owning what is yours and rooted in what really matters to you. This is also the question of this year. What really matters? We can only know what really matters if we confront all that there is in us, all that there is in our lives. Pluto in Aquarius, it will be a time of huge shake-ups still in society, and we can only go through those shake-ups, through those changes, if we act out of this inner sanctuary, and that our darkness can also have a place in the sanctuary, and that it will also be very important that it will have a place in our society and in our relationships. But it starts, of course, always with ourselves, and it starts, and this is a Pluto theme, it starts with our own courage. We need to be courageous revolutionaries in our own life to establish the new. So I wish you all the best for that. Many, many blessings for the next year. Till next time, namaste.